Kaikwe North is here with the head of legal team of the NDC, Lawyer Godwin Kujo Eduji Tamaklo. Gentlemen, good morning. Thank you very much for joining me in studio. How are you?
We're doing well.
I like the blue combination.
And how are you doing?
Johnny, it's been a while.
The deputy finance minister that we never had for saying this, but don't worry, you'll be fine.
I'm sure if he was managing the economy, things wouldn't have been this bad. But you see, he cannot isolate himself. You know, he was part of the finance committee that approved most of the Eurobond and all of those things, which created a platform for the current mess. But that's fine.
I probably got the opportunity to serve the good people of Ghana in Parliament, and that I'm eternally grateful. And whilst I was there, I'm very proud of the work we did. The economy that we supported government to build from 2017 to 2020 until COVID struck. That I'm very, very proud of the record that we did in Parliament.
Should Dr. Bawumia be giving a fair hearing?
Obviously, like any Ghanaian, like Ghana has done before. I think Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia deserves a fair hearing, and I support the stance of Kofi Bento in total, to the extent that it's not the first time a vice president is trying to ascend to the ultimate of the presidency. Given what transpired, even under the NDC, given the situation that got His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to ascend to the throne at the person of Professor Mills, given the 6 months or so that he was at the helm of affairs, Ghanaians still gave him the opportunity. When even as a vice president, I'm not sure he could have extolled a fraction of what Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is telling Ghanaians today. What Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia set out to do last Wednesday was to define his role, what he has done as a vice president in the government of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo from 2017 to date. And we all know that in Ghana, per the architecture of our constitution, the executive power vested in the president, and that's the ultimate. Anyone, and I've said it, I keep be saying it, anyone who serves in the government, even from the vice president, remember, it was a choice of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo in 2008 to bring Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia on board to assist him as a running mate. And I mean, from then, we have known and seen Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as a vice president, as a running mate in the elections. We saw him at the Supreme Court and all of that. What he sought to do last Wednesday was to lay out his priorities, his vision, given the chance as president. And I believe
that involved separating himself from a key policy like e-levy. You were very vocal on e-levy.
I don't know what you mean.
No, he was not in that parliament, but he was vocal on e-levy.
I don't know what you mean.
I hosted him on TV3 New Day. I remember that.
Of the 73 pages or so, the first 45 pages was setting out a proud record of the New Patriotic Party, of which he was integral, and he set out his role. On the 75 pages, he set out 45 of those 75 pages.
But e-levy touches the heart of the people.
E-levy does.
And why would he distance himself from it?
Johnny, of course, his personal view on e-levy has been known for a while, even before the bill became an act. He had spoken on piece of immediate but you see, as a vice president, he is part of a team.
And the collective decision, he was instrumental.
It is not true. Kojo has denied that.
Kojo said it on CTFM.
He didn't say that.
I watch you play it on Johnny's
I'll give you a rejoinder. I can also give you a rejoinder to what Kojo upon in Nkrumah.
Kojo cannot eat his cake and have it.
Oh,
it's too late.
Johnny. He was instrumental to the extent that even when the collective had agreed that this is the way we are going to pursue, this is how policy is going to go, he came in and said, okay, if it's so, let us get a pro-poor sort of safety net for the very poor population who do less than 100 cedis transaction. To that extent, yes, as a vice president who sits, being part of the collective, his personal view was no.
Have we made so much money to the extent that sending 100 CDs is considered from a poor person?
I mean, for the chunk of majority of...
I send 100 CDs, I receive 100 CDs.
For transactions that happen in a day, a certain very high percentage, I'm unable to quote the percentage,
right.
was transactions under 100 CDs. It meant that majority of Ghanaians who do daily transactions do to the extent of 100. And so if you want to bring in a safety net within the framework of e-levy, it just made sense that you will exempt that sort of transfers. And it happens. I mean, even when you do 1,000, the first 100 is exempted. Right. That's how the architecture of the
listen to Kojo Ponkroma.
I want to talk about the e-levy in much more detail than
so
the single mention of it.
So the question is, how much detail did he provide on it?
Well, if you look at it, Kojo, one would say he kind of avoided it.
No, he didn't. So first of all, he mentioned it as part of the, and I told you he spoke about 4 things. He spoke about the measures that we are taking to mitigate the impact and get us out of the current situation in which we are. And within that context, he spoke about the AEV. I think it's true that a lot of people were expecting him to give a very detailed set of comments on the electronic transactions levy for 2 reasons. One, because he has been the champion of digitization in this country. And I think that is commendable. He's been one of the very first and strong voices on digitization and its impact and why we should digitize a lot more. Indeed, the 4th part of his presentation was extensively about digitization. So if a digital sphere is now attracting a levy, a lot of people were expecting him to do a connection between the two. And then secondly, he had also been on record on talking about the fact that Momo in general, we should be careful about taxing it because a lot of poor people use it. And that if you tax Momo, you'll be taxing the poor. I mean, Prophet, I think that these are the 2 main reasons for which people were expecting a very elaborate set of remarks from him on the subject of the electronic levy. Am I right?
Not necessarily so, but considering that of the measures that are being taken by government, the e-levy is perhaps the most significant of them all. It could not be simply worth just a mention on such a platform with such timing.
I mean, significance is a matter we may debate because there are monetary policy measures, some of which are most significant in arresting the slide of the currency. There are some of the fiscal measures, some of which are quite draconian. 20% plus active expenditures, in my view, are a lot more significant than 6-point-something billion, which may not all be achieved because of the delays we have had. So the debate on significance, I won't want to go into that one. But I guess the simplest answer to this is that the e-levy is a matter that I think extensively we have, as a government, spoken to across this country and answered every single question on. I can understand why some people want to hear him do an elaborate set of remarks on it. But it should not be missed that his presentation was a third in a series of presentations by government dealing with various issues. And we have dealt extensively with the electronic transactions levy, traveling from Takrady to Koforidua to Wa to Ho and to other places, engaging with the Ghanaian public, engaging in parliament, on mass media platforms, explaining the why and dealing with the fact that those 2 principal issues, one, digitization will not be compromised by e-levy, have to be responded to, and it's been responded to ad nauseum. The second matter of dealing with the poor, the Vice President himself was very instrumental, and I don't think I break my cabinet oath when I say this because I believe it serves a good purpose. He was very instrumental in the cabinet meetings and the EMT meetings to ensure that his principled argument of protect the poor was upheld, and that is why the threshold of 100 Ghana cedis, which accounts for about 40% of Momo transactions on a daily basis, 40%.
That's Kojo Ponkroma. So which part of their statement saying he...
But I'm saying that the Vice President is on record, his stance on this electronic taxes, money transfer, or e-levy as everybody wants to call it today. He's on record to have said what he thinks, and he thinks that with the digitalization agenda that he has pursued over time, this is going to be regressive, given that taxing it might not promote it like he had envisaged. Nonetheless, the team, cabinet, government, led by the president, given the circumstances in which we found ourselves in 2022, you'll recollect at the time, our access to international markets were curtailed. At the time, our debts had become
we're not creditworthy.
Very.
Nobody wanted to borrow.
Our debts had become unsustainable. There was a need for us as a people to start to domestically be able to raise revenue, and we have been saying over time that if you see the tax revenues to GDP in Ghana relative to other countries, South Africa is doing like 27% tax revenues to GDP per annum. And we are still wallowing in the ranges of 14-15%.
Let me ask
there
you,
is a need for us.
Who are the finance and economic brains at cabinet? Kendo Foriata, Dr. Baumia,
let me tell
Professor
you.
Jan Bafo.
On the other hand,
I wonder.
Jan Bafo is no more in cabinet.
Yeah, but I'm talking about when the solid economic management team was mentioned.
Let me say, look. Let's avert ourselves to Article 58 of the Constitution.
No, you have to answer my question before you introduce another.
No, but I'm answering. So irrespective of.
So President Akufo-Addo is not an economist. He's not a finance person. If there's any question about finance and economics, he will yield to Dr. Baumia, Ken Ofori-Atta, all the other finance brains on the table.
We have two main people who run this economy. The physical side is run by the Minister of Finance.
Okay.
And he's called Ken Ofori-Atta. And the monetary side is run by Dr. Anderson from the Bank of Ghana.
Right.
So they are responsible for every economic.
Dr. Baumia was not responsible for anything.
I'm telling you that, look, the role Dr. Mahmoud Baumia played prior to 2017, you know his lectures and all of that. He brought that sort of debate, that intellectual to our body politic. And he had played a role at a time where we didn't have a finance minister as a party. The president or the candidate, Akufo-Addo then, had not selected who was going to be central bank governor. Once we assumed the reins of power in 2017, rules were created. People were appointed to roles. And people had to play the roles to which they had been appointed.
So what was Dr. Baumia responsible for?
That is where he comes to say, like, look, he had way back in 2010, he had brought out solutions to economies like that of Ghana in his book. And so he had, with the blessings of the president, undertaken certain measures to ensure that our economy was formalized. And you can only grow an economy when it's formalized. Informal economy like we had over the decades, it's very difficult because it's not even moved by science and data. When you have formalized it, like what we are trying to put in place today, such that every adult Ghanaian basically has a national identification card. Just that also leverages into them having tax identification numbers because
so he knew all of these things, and then he put 170 questions to the late Emisarata to answer.
You see, that's also another misconception.
It was on the front page of the Daily Graphic, edited by Kobe Asma.
Of course, it could be. But what is the thinking behind the story?
I'm saying that he knew
in one of his lectures.
Knew all of these things.
In one of his lectures.
Hold on, please. He knew all of these things.
Lectures, somebody had
put the questions to another person.
Someone else had analyzed the issues that he brought up in the lectures. He had never written that. In any case, even when that's the creation. The creation of the end is he put 170 questions to it. It was in place for the late Mr. Atta to have come out and also responded. He could have also defined his role, what he was doing under the presidencies of John Dramani Mahama as a vice president.
I want you to help us to understand. Did the vice president, was he ever responsible for anything?
That's what I'm saying, that he was responsible for issues like a NIA, which was going to be able to help us formalize our economy.
Look at this tweet from Dr. Baumia. 8:48 p.m., 12th of May 2016. Dr. Baumia's official handle tweets, "Hello friends, please, how many of the 170 statements and claims on the true state of the economy did the vice president answer?"
This was
a few days after he had posted them, and he challenged.
These are no questions. We're statements.
No.
There were
So
statements.
how do you answer a statement?
There were statements. He had, amongst other things.
No, I just put,
amongst other things. At the same lecture.
Fuseni, I just put this up
Yes.
just to point to the fact that you said he never.
Yeah.
And I just put it up that his official handle.
I am
Right.
still telling you. These are not questions. They were statements. After that lecture, he had made a statement. He had said that.
What was
he
the
had
statement
said,
supposed to achieve?
He has said that. He has said at that same lecture that a number of banks were on life-saving machine. He didn't. He wasn't even exact. He never mentioned the name of any bank.
Are weak,
Any
the
bank.
exchange rate will expose you when this
That
is
is
that.
true. That was
Oh,
true
yes.
then, and it's true today.
But it is warp logic.
It is true. It
logic
was
now,
true then, and it's true today.
But it's warp logic now to make reference that if the exchange rate moves.
I'm saying that the statement of when the fundamentals are with the exchange, it was true then. It is still
it
true
was
today.
part of the statements that were made, though.
It is a statement, and
Right.
it was never a question. That's what I'm telling you. He made a statement, amongst other things.
What were those
he
statements
said at the
supposed to
time,
achieve?
He said at the time. He said at the time because look, at the time he was privy to the fact that there had been an asset quality review report from 2015 in Ghana. The World Bank had sponsored that, showing us the state of our financial sector or the banking sector. He had mentioned it. It was for the first time that I heard that there were banks on life support in this country. He had made that statement. He had challenged everybody who was in charge. Everybody who was in charge to come up.
Can those
and
same
tell us
challenges
what's
be,
there.
be put to him
Why
today?
Not? Why not?
Would he answer them?
Anybody is welcome. Anybody is welcome to make those statements.
So far, you have not told me exactly what the vice president's role is, because he's been moving away from the key economic questions and he's priding himself in digitalization.
I'm telling you that the vice president, through those lectures that we are referring to today, have projected our party into power. He was a poster boy. He had come in to make statements and help manage the economy. That's his role. Once we came into government and roles were defined, such that somebody was in charge of fiscal policy, another person in charge of monetary policy, with the blessings of the president, the role was cut for him. And that is ensuring that we have systems in place that will formalize our economy. And that is going to lay the fundamental for the economy, for us to grow our economy.
Do you recognize that Dr. Bawumia was mentioned by President Akufo-Addo as the main brain behind his government?
I have not.
When
I
he
am
met
not,
school children.
I have not run away from that.
2021.
I have not run away from that.
So if the main brain behind the government is now telling us that, the decisions that the government took in the name of e-levy, emissions tax, betting tax, and etc., I will come and abolish them. How do we marry the two?
On Wednesday, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia did say that he had chaired the economic management team, and he was proud of the quality of suggestions or reports they have churned out to cabinet. That was his role as the EMT being advisory on issues on the economy. They will meet and judge. Remember, cabinet even has another committee, the economic committee, typically headed by the Minister of Trade. Headed by the Minister of Trade and co-chaired by the Minister of Finance. Right. So it's a whole. He on Wednesday he had taken responsibility as the head of the economic management team, and he was proud of the work they have done. To the extent that it was advised, I know you are going to play Osafo Manfo.
I'm not going to play. I'm not going to play that.
It's still consistent with what the vice president said on Wednesday.
I am actually on Bawumia.com. That's the official website of Vice President Bawumia. It says Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana. He chairs the economic management team, which is broadly responsible for shaping the government's policies and guiding their implementation. He is at the forefront of a broad, inclusive development strategy in Ghana, involving, among others, the leveraging of digitalized government services to transform the delivery of public services and digitalization of the economy, with an overall objective of building Ghana's digital economy. His efforts have seen the ongoing infusion of technological innovation in everyday Ghanaian life and the rapid growth of the fintech industry in Ghana. So note this. He says he is responsible for shaping government policies and guiding the implementation of these policies.
In the same vein.
How do you exonerate such
in
an
the same
individual
vein,
who
in the
says,
same vein.
I help to formulate the policies and I guide the implementation?
In the same vein, you know that the man in charge, the man who shapes our fiscal policy today is the Minister of Finance. In the same vein,
Ken Ofori-Atta has more power than Dr. Bawumia.
When it came to a decision,
That means that Ken Ofori-Atta has more power than Dr. Bawumia.
I am saying my statement is that the man in charge of our fiscal policy today is the Minister of Finance.
The Minister of Finance is a member of Dr. Bawumia's committee that he chairs.
No.
Dr. Bawumia is number two at cabinet.
No. What I'm telling you today. What I'm telling you today is that EMT, right, is an advisory subcommittee in cabinet. The man that has been selected, given the mandate by the president to run the fiscal policy in this country, he is called Ken Ofori-Atta.
Is he more powerful than the vice president?
He has a role to run the fiscal policy in this country. Meanwhile, he was appointed at the behest of the president.
Is he more powerful than the vice president?
I mean, when it comes to power play, I don't know why you are fixated on what
I have to understand.
The vice president does not, and he's not in charge of fiscal policy.
So
remember, let me give you
when the president had been out of the jurisdiction.
At a point, the same finance minister had come out to tell us that, look, this IMF option, it is not something that he thinks it's a way out for us.
Right.
And then he subsequently comes back to us and says that on the authority of the president, the president had directed that we started. Of course.
Before he came to speak.
Of course, the president. It shows you that even the Minister of Finance, who is in charge of fiscal policy, he reports to the president.
But in terms of hierarchy, president, vice president, chief of staff,
and I'm saying,
and the ministers,
and I am telling you,
so is the finance minister more powerful than Dr. Bawumia?
I am telling you that the finance minister has a defined role. Look, when we draw up our budgets in this year, when we draw up our budgets in this country, right, the ministers who run the sectors of the economy, right, they have budgets allocated.
You have
to
still not
sectors,
answered my question.
and they have the right to do appropriation. Do you know how the vice president's office runs? It runs under the office of the chief of staff.
So it's
assumed. Under the office of the president.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
On occasions when the president has been out of the jurisdiction and the vice president has acted and had sat as chair of cabinet, did he have more power than the finance minister?
No, he was still in acting position to chair.
No, you answer my question.
He would chair in the absence of the
as
president.
What?
As a vice president in the absence of the president.
And at that point, when Ken Ofori-Atta brings something before him, he cannot take a decision on it.
But day-to-day decisions, fine. But on major decisions, we will have to revert because Article 58 of our Constitution, vests the executive power in this country in the hands of the president, no one else, not the vice president. If the framers of the Constitution wanted a power sharing such that the vice president office was going to be that powerful, they probably would have said that the executive
throwing
power
the president under the bus.
It's not. Of the 73 or 75 pages speech that he made, for the first 45 pages was extolling the record and the successes that the government under His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo had achieved.
A record that is connected to him, which is good news.
It is not just him. The record of the government.
Drones for blood delivery.
And then in there, he defines what his own contribution to the record. It is he never threw the government.
And that's why he called himself a driver's mate.
Oh, but this whole analogy of mate driver didn't start from him. Go back to 2015. The then chief of staff, Julius Zebra, had told people in the northern region that Bawumia was just a mate and that they should vote for. There is a newspaper publication.
In fact, it's a fake news.
It's a fake news
created
in 2015.
Nowhere
in 2015. Julius Zebra had told the people in the northern region
that
I can give you evidence to it. I can give you evidence to it.
Don't do this.
Do you have the evidence?
I will give you the article.
Okay.
Do you know what they did? They created a fake
Julius Zebra had
article.
referred to Bawumia as a mate. and that he had asked the people of the North to vote rather for John Dramani Mahama, who was going for a number one position, rather than Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who was on the ticket as a vice president. So this is a whole analogy driver meets. It did not start with Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Way back, Julius Zebra had defined the rule. Even John Mahama had referred to himself way back in 2012 as a co-driver. But I tell you, when you are in STC, when you join STC, STC has co-drivers, right? 2 drivers who drive long distance.
Is Dr. Bawumia a co-driver or is he a driver's mate?
They don't. STC has no mates. This is how there's no.
So you don't even want to answer any question today.
The rules that you can decide to.
Husseini has not answered any of my questions.
I have answered every question that you have put to me.
Is Dr. Bawumia a driver's mate or a co-driver?
He's a driver's mate.
He's a driver's mate, not a co-driver.
Depending on whether it's an STC that has co-drivers or a trotro from Medina to Circle that has a driver and a mate.
I see. Eduji, the vice president spoke. He gave us his vision. You should be applauding him, no?
I think, and it's only fair that I say good morning to your listeners and viewers online. You see, I decided to...
You have printed the document?
Yeah, print it out. For the sole purpose of exposing the duplicity, the hypocrisy, the obvious lack of credibility of Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And the reason is that, listen, if you come to the table of leadership, people expect trust, people expect credibility, people expect honesty, above all, personal integrity. Clearly, the Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia that we knew in opposition, that the MPP, as it were, used as their poster board on sound economic management to alleviate the suffering of the good people of Ghana, it has turned out to be a scam. And it is this scam that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and his hype men are running away from. Listen, in opposition, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia used to have lectures with the anchor hold, with whatever. You remember those lectures? Right. Where are the Professor Yankers who used to provide him the platform to deceive Ghanaians? Today we are being told that the vice president is nothing. He is just there. In fact, my friend is short of using the word presidential boy. So that when
I'm giving you a video this morning.
So that when Akufo-Addo,
John Mama alluded to it. He said he was a spare driver.
When Akufo-Addo is thirsty, he's the one he was saying, when he needs some book, you call him Bawumia, Kofa book we breme. Look, all because of the calamitous results that the leadership of Akufo-Addo and Bawumia had brought to this beautiful country. That is what Bawumia is running away from. That is what his hype men are trying, as it were, to rebrand him as something new to Ghanaians. But you see, the accounts have a saying, Sebi. You say, Kwasiabe bino, yentiasum premier no ana. Even a fool, you can't step on his something twice. Obenya den nyansa. Look.
Okay.
You sold Bawumia to Ghanaians. So for instance, you go to Circle. These gentlemen come and approach you and say, Meton phone. Neatly wrapped. You buy it. You go home. You unwrap it only to see that it is actually soap and not phone. And the person who sold this soap phone to you is gaslighting you. It's telling you that, you are responsible. Why didn't you do a due diligence when I was selling the phone to you? If you have done some due diligence, you would have noticed that I was selling the soap and not phone to you. How regrettable. See, in opposition, one of the campaign message of the MPP was that the Emisata, Prosamio's Emisata John Mahama administration, they were imposing too much taxes on Ghanaians. So on the campaign platform, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia then said, a vote for the MPP will be a movement of the economy from taxation to production.
That's right.
You remember that?
Trade fair.
Yes. Thank you.
I covered that.
Now you come to power. You impose 40 new taxes on the people of this country. Now look, how are taxes imposed in this country? First, it goes to cabinet. Cabinet refers it to a subcommittee on the economics. That is the EMT.
Right.
That EMT is chaired by no other person but the man the MPP today are telling us that he's a presidential boy.
But if the EMT brings a recommendation, the meeting of the whole can say, we don't like this.
So I'm coming. In this specific case, Dr. Bawumia then goes to his web page and puts broadly at his web page and listen to what he says of himself. In fact,
was it what I read?
Yes.
That he's broadly responsible for shaping the government's policies and guiding their implementation.
Absolutely.
He's at the forefront of...
He's at the forefront. Yeah. Now, when you say somebody is at the forefront of something, what does it mean? Is it one that is a mate? Which mate is ever at the forefront of anything? The man says that the committee I chair is broadly responsible for policy broadly
largely
responsible for. Now incidentally, you see the words he used, policy formulation and guiding its implementation.
Right.
Now the people say no, that is not the case. Nothing convicts a man faster than his own words. These are Bawumia's own words. On his, in fact, they wish they can delete that web.
No, but you can't delete it. Everybody
it's too late. We've copied it. Look,
you copied it and kept it where?
Hey, on my phone for reference purposes. Look, on the 8th of February, 2018, Mr. Akufo-Addo delivered the State of the Nation address. At that program, he said and recommended the stellar leadership of his Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and that, as a result of that stellar leadership, positive results.
The economy is bouncing back.
Now, suddenly, we are being told that by reason of Article 58, executive power resides in the president.
But that's the law.
No. Listen. The 1992 Constitution never contemplated a mate as a vice president. It's a co-driver, spare driver.
One ticket.
On one ticket. That is the superior wisdom of the framers of the Constitution. And proceeded, right, to give all the protection accorded the president to him. And so you will notice that the vice president, once in office, cannot remove except on the same grounds as the removal of the president. The vice president, once he remains as vice president, and you see, look at Eko in Kansaka. You remember?
Right, vice president.
From 1992 to 96, when he had his problem with Jerry Rawlings.
Great Alliance.
No, even before.
NCP.
I'm coming there. Jerry Rawlings, all the problems Aka was giving him, he could not sack him.
That's right.
To the point that Aka even became running mates to the then opposition candidate.
Right.
He could not sack him. Because of the superior role, the pedestal that the vice president is elevated to. But our friends, because of the abysmal performance of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as the chairman of the economic management team, they are trying to isolate him from the mess. How can you do that without insulting the intelligence of Ghanaians? And like you rightly pointed out to him, he in opposition found it very convenient to oppose statement, claims, questions to the dead vice president. Oh, please, hold on. If you,
How do you post
when you put it there, you don't make statements. Oh no, hold on. You don't make statements and demand answers.
No, he never did.
If you read
But
the full,
the tweet says that how many did he?
He said, how many did he answer
today?
No.
Oh, please put it there for the record, for the
Jen,
avoidance
put the
of
tweet
doubt.
up again for me.
For the avoidance of doubt.
Yes.
If you read what Dr. Look at the tail end. Did the vice president answer today? Answer today.
This is Dr. Baumiezo.
Answer today.
So he made statements.
No. You say claims on the true state of the economy. Did the vice president answer?
You are per second. You are a grade A school.
This had been
my primary GSS.
Hold on.
No, my primary.
Repeatedly, people had referred to 170 questions.
He said, how many of them did he answer?
You went to Presec, grade A school.
Johnny,
Ivy
don't
League.
go that route.
This one, I'm not doing.
Don't go that route. But we are looking at he made 170 statements
And claims
repeatedly. The
vice
likes of
president
him
answer.
have gone on to say 170
but you see,
No, he said did the vice president answer?
He didn't pose questions.
Do you know
to
what I want to
him,
expose him?
He
further?
did not.
Do you know?
Questions to him,
You see, I had a Presbyterian
case.
foundation.
Right, just like him.
GSS Primary was a Presby school in Kwando. Look, the Presbyterian training was said that even on Monday morning, they'll find out whether we went to church.
That's right. They will cane you.
They'll cane us at
didn't
assembly.
go to school.
That was the
You
level.
didn't go to church.
At that time, the moderator was Beku or something. He would leave Accra and come to. I mean, that was the level of the Presbyterian training, and it didn't matter whether you were even a Muslim and you were in the school. That was how strict.
That's a Christian gentleman
Yes,
for you.
that was how strict they were.
Blue magic.
No, that was how strict. And I always thank God for that Presbyterian
What are you
foundation.
telling Hussein?
I am just saying that, look, when it is the truth, it is what it is. You cannot spin yourself out of it. At that time, how come that Dr. Baumia did not direct the question to Setekwe, but directed it to Ebisata?
You know why?
Because he knew.
You know why?
He knew.
It was
There's-
matching to like and like.
Can you imagine?
Opposite number.
Opposite
He
number.
was looking at the unique role
And given that
that the vice
Sata was
president,
also an
and
academic.
that is why I told you that you cannot remove the vice president. In fact, the president himself cannot remove it. Look at Kenya.
Is that grounded in law?
Yes,
That the president cannot
sack his vice.
Cannot.
He can never.
As Rollins would have sacked that guy, given the second.
You can never sack your
Or
vice.
even Professor Mills could have
So
sacked
he's stuck
John
with-
Mahama.
You are stuck. That is why it
Else-
is a one ticket.
So
Else Professor Mills would have
reference
sacked
to the
John
law.
Mahama.
Let's ground it in law.
Oh.
If there's a legal.
I left.
You
I
left
didn't
the
bring my
constitution.
yes.
Yes.
Like, I would have-
Six, find me a constitution,
Yes,
please,
in fact,
from
that
your
would be
boot,
nice. That would be
so
very
that we
nice.
can quickly refer to it. We'll come to this matter. I'm interested
And
in
you
that.
see, the point is that the vice president of the Republic of Ghana, like I indicated, enjoys the same security of tenure as the president. Do you also know that to be qualified to be vice president of this country, you must be qualified to be president?
Not to be a member of
Right,
parliament.
right.
I don't know if you get
You
it.
have to hit the age 40.
No, the
Age
qualification is
40,
the same.
yes,
No,
the same thing.
the qualification is the
Yeah.
same, just as a member of parliament.
Yeah.
And so the
In
Supreme
fact, you
Court-
can enter parliament if you are less than 40, but to
The
hit
distinction is
president,
the age.
right.
The-
The
that's
distinction is the age, yes.
Even the qualification for a president refers
Must
to
be- first
The
you have to
EP.
be
Uh-huh.
You
qualified
might be
as a
qualified,
member
no
of
criminal
parliament.
record,
all
sound
those
mind,
things, you know.
right.
So anybody that suggests that the vice president is a mate is delusional.
Oh,
Yes.
are you saying that to Julius Zebra?
Julius never, I've said on this platform.
Are you saying that to John
please.
Mahama?
John Mahama never said that. He used the
I've
word-
sent you a video.
No, play
No, I
the
haven't
video.
seen it.
And in the words of John Mahama,
check
he
it.
So
said,
you sent it to
Check
me
it,
because
check
I have
it.
not seen
he
it.
said, listen to John Mahama.
No, I
he
haven't
said,
received. Okay, I just received it.
listen to John Mahama. He said, I was the spare driver or caretaker president. That is how he sees the position. He never said he was driver's mate to Mills. Because he knew. And you see, do you know what makes this conversation even more terrible?
What is it?
It means that our Vice President, Dr. Bawumia, up to now does not even understand the position he occupies. That is seriously revealing. If after 7 years,
Johnny,
as Vice President of this republic, if after 7 years as Vice President of this republic, the Vice President still sees himself as a driver's mate instead of a spare driver, a co-driver, then our problem is even bigger than what we
was just waiting for his time.
Refer that to Julius Zebra.
He was just waiting for his time.
And do you know something? Do you know something?
No.
Bawumia cannot run away. Do you know that even the IMF negotiation that we've had, the most recent IMF negotiation, Bawumia led the negotiation.
See, when the minister went to Parliament, he said that the president had directed him to engage the fund. He did that in the name of the president.
And he
so whichever team goes to do the negotiation,
what role?
They are there based on the direction given by the president.
What role did the EMT play in
they negotiated a deal.
Oh, they
negotiated. Listen, he said they are
the ultimate responsibility lies with the president. We recollect, and I'll remind you again. I'll remind you again. When the Minister of Finance went to Parliament, he made a statement that he had been directed by the president.
If the vice president,
following the phone call,
if the vice president's role was just advisory,
we don't need this.
Really, then
we don't need these MPP guys again.
Even cabinet itself. Cabinet itself, by the architecture of our constitution, cabinet itself is advisory. When you go to Parliament, when I was in Parliament, a lot of documents came to Parliament from the presidency signed with executive authority, not necessarily from cabinet.
So what did Bawumia do? What did Bawumia do?
Yes.
So you see,
today,
Johnny, let me further expose this gentleman. Johnny, there is a certain thing that we should never take away. In leadership, there's what we call team play. From what these people are saying, Bawumia is not a team player. And I want this on record.
It is not true. It is not.
Bawumia is not.
Allow him to make his point. Then you have.
Bawumia is not a team player.
Why do you say that?
Because this is a man. When he's member of a team, and there are issues with the team, the performance of the team, he easily isolates himself from the work of the team. He says, was it Shaggy?
It wasn't me.
It wasn't me. So the whole character formation of Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia demonstrate a man who is never responsible for anything, but will take credit when it is good. So in one breath, as the chair of the EMT, he's not responsible for the calamitous economy that we have now. In another breath, his boss gave digitalization to him. And so we should credit him with the performances under the digitalization agenda. How convenient can you be? And that is why I have said, clearly, the MPP hype men and communicators have been given a product that selling it is becoming a problem, debilitating, abysmal. And so, conveniently, they are creating a certain narrative. Listen, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo met MPP communicators at the Jubilee House. He was basically weeping.
About what?
He said, listen, he has heard some people trying to take themselves away.
That was during the primaries, the presidential primaries, right?
He met MPP communicators. Were you there that day?
Yes, I was there. I was seated on the floor.
And the man was virtually weeping. He said, listen, how in God's name do you go about saying this is Akufo-Addo's record? And look, Akufo-Addo said something profound. He said, when we do that, That's that's MPP communicators. He said, when we do that, are we saying Ghanaians are gullible? This is the question Akufo-Addo asked the likes of Fuseni. I thought that advice should shape how you treat Ghanaians.
Okay.
And you see, Johnny.
Johnny, I have to play some of the
Johnny,
tapes.
I beg you. Right. Listen, there's one thing that they have said. That, if you give Bawumia the opportunity, he says you come and abolish e-levy.
He'll be his own man.
You come and abolish. Look, when Prof. Samuel said you consult even Jerry Rawlings, if you recall, in the 2004 election campaign, the NPP did a campaign ad where you see some gentlemen in a room, then somebody knocks. And just when he opened and they saw his boots, said, "Soja na bow," trying to say that Mills and Jerry Rawlings
they are
were
one.
the same. Yeah. They never knew today will come. They never knew. And I've always said, time is not a friend of
the federal declaration.
I have always said, time is never a friend of any man.
Mohammed's promise to scrap e-levy is a scam,
and
according to the MPP. Bobby Asamoah, he said this, National Communications Director. And this was published on the 4th of May 2022, 4:24 p.m. on My Joy Online, also on CT3 News as well.
And you know why they did that? Do you know why they did that?
Allow Suhini
yes, I'll come.
Sorry, Fusini to answer the question.
H. John Mahama actually went to Kempinski to deliver the Ghana we want, presentations.
Right.
And in that presentation, it was in the middle of this e-levy conversation. Then he said, look, he will abolish the e-levy, So they called Yabuabin Asamoah. At that time, he was the director of communications of the MPP.
That's right.
He said, if John Mahama says you abolish e-levy, it's a scam.
So allow Fuseni
today.
Fuseni, what do you say to this now? Your flag bearer says, I will abolish it. Should we consider that as a scam too?
Just did not get up out of the blue to say he will abolish it. He had stated how he was going to improve upon the physicals, how he was going to tax measures that was going to
abolish, no be so.
But say,
yes, sir.
He has said how he was going to make our taxation system more user-friendly. That was going to improve upon our domestic generation funds generated. I mean, locally. He had gone on to state policies that he was going to use: the flat rate. I mean, for the Abosokan people, the AGI, they have come out. The Abosokan people themselves have come out to laud those policies. And these are all geared to ensure that we create what we call fiscal space within the budget. And once that space is created, because of the agenda of pushing forward the digitalization, he thinks that we would have created enough space in the budget to allow him to do other things beyond the three-line items.
So
then, he did not just get up to say that.
Abolishing e-levy will not be a scam. He did not just get up
to say that he was going to abolish e-levy. He had laid a basis, what he was going to do to ensure that we got to a point where we would not need e-levy. He had given us all options, alternatives.
Where was he all this while when e-levy was pushed? People fought in Parliament, tooth and claw.
Why do you want us to go back to what we have
Why
said
shouldn't
now?
we learn from history?
Because I have told you that his personal feeling about e-levy had been espoused.
So he knew the president was taking a wrong decision, but he kept quiet.
And beyond that, as a team player, he's saying that he's not a team player. As a team player, he had been part and help the process. But also, as a team player, he had gone in there to ensure that there was some safety net for the 40% of transactions
you are playing in a team that hurts people. Are you Black Stars?
Hurts.
Yes.
Hurts.
Yes.
What do you mean?
Because e-levy hurts people. He said it.
I have explained
at Joy FM in 2014 or so.
I have explained to you that in 2022, given the situation we found ourselves in as a nation, given our lack of access to international markets, given what was happening to our reserves, given global situation and how quickly our currency was
Can you please answer my question?
And given the debt situation that we had to deal
was scrapping e-levy amount to a scam? As was said by
my question to you, my response to you is that my response to you is that when Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia came out to say he would abolish e-levy, he had gone on to tell us what he was going to do.
Did John Mahama not say the same things?
I don't recollect what you read. What you read did not include anything John Mahama was going to do to ensure that we had the physical space in our budget and how to make it possible for the e-levy to be abolished.
Okay.
He did not go on to tell us what he was going to do instead.
Let's hold on, please. Sorry, I'll come to you. Let me play a few of the videos that Fuseni sent to me.
Mahama has been vice president before. Did you ever hear John Mahama saying that he was a mere mate to Professor Mills?
It's Fuseni, I think the sound is not good. The sound is not good. Yeah.
Mahama has been vice president before. Did you ever hear John Mahama saying that he was a mere mate to Professor Mills?
Julius Zebra, I've sent you that stories as well, as reported by Ghana Web and
Peace FM Online, Ghana Web,
as reported by them in 2015.
So he says, in a moving vehicle, every moving vehicle, there's someone behind the steer and the driver's mate. The driver determines which direction the car is moving.
Reference to
the mate may have a say, but the driver takes the ultimate decision. So in this simple analogy, President Mahama is the driver. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is a vice presidential candidate, will be the driver's mate, and should Nanado and win and cannot have the ultimate power, if he proposes something for you and Nanado says later there's nothing he can do, Mr. Deborah told the chiefs and the people of Kalio, that's in the upper west region. Right?
Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Johnny, for your indulgence.
So let me ask you this question. You are the driver's mate. You are loading the vehicle. Agbublushi. And then the driver comes to sit down. He starts taking the people to Teshi. You say, oh, don't worry. When the driver leaves you at Teshi, I will sit in the car and drive you back to Agbublushi, where I originally said I was taking you to. Does that add up to you?
When you're loading Agbublushi, you expect the driver to take you to Agbublushi,
right,
and not take you to Teshi.
Right.
So I'm still not very too clear why a driver driving you to supposed to be driving you to Agbublushi.
A simple analogy is the e-levy.
You are simply oversimplifying this.
No,
I think that you are.
Who is the vice president now, Johnny? Who is the vice president as we speak?
It's called Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia.
and you see, do you know that from now to December, if you want to father a child, you can do that.
Right.
And Bawumia is saying that he cannot. He can't change a law. And you say,
how is the vice president going to change a law?
Let's put e-levy.
How do you expect the vice president to change a law given the architecture of our course? You don't speak even like a lawyer.
Please. Let's put e-levy.
You are a big lawyer. I mean, you go to the Supreme Court and
let's
put
e-levy in proper.
How can you say that the vice president will change
stop what you are doing?
You know what you are saying is
let's put e-levy in proper context.
Come on.
I led 3 minority MPs together with the minority leader. We went to the Supreme Court and said the parliamentary numbers that were used to approve e-levy was not proper. Right. And we went to court.
A quorum for that.
We even applied for an injunction to stop the collection.
It was not listened to. We were not heard.
We went to court. The Attorney General of the Republic of Ghana, Godfrey Adami, came to oppose the injunction application. At the end of the day, the Supreme Court unanimously dismissed the injunction.
But Godfrey Adami was clapping.
I'm coming. That's where I'm getting to.
He clapped in the Supreme Court?
No, he was clapping at Dr. Bawumia's lecture.
Hey.
When and you see
for the cancellation of the e-levy.
The very person who came to the Supreme Court and told the Supreme Court that without e-levy were basically going to die. This is a government that did about town hall meetings in about 6 regions, all because of e-levy. Now, finally, when Bawumia said, I shall abolish e-levy, the same Godfrey Dami was not clapping.
Because Bawumia had given us and told us what he was going to do to ensure that this economy will survive and progress without e-levy. Unlike John Mama.
Johnny.
Unlike John Mama, who just goes and says
Johnny,
he's going to abolish it. He should tell us what he was going to do to ensure that the revenue that we're going to lose from abolishing the e-levy, he should tell us.
Okay.
Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia went on to tell us what he was going to do to ensure that
was
that
not there. So hold on.
Energy, you come in. He's saying that. He's saying that. Look, so he's saying that. Let me make what necessitated the passage of an act like the e-levy. What necessitated that?
See,
what necessitated? Not what necessitated the passage of the
play that
act.
video for me. Play that video.
Under my administration, there will be no taxes on digital payments. The e-levy will therefore be abolished.
Godfrey Dami was at the Supreme Court with me. I represented the 3 NDC MPs, Haruna Idrisu, Mahama Yariga,
Right.
and I think Ablakwa. They were the plaintiffs.
He was on the other side.
He was on the other side representing the government and spoke to the Supreme Court why there was the need to maintain e-levy.
And
so
I'm
why was
saying
he
that
clapping?
Today,
and he's clapping because
why are you
number
doing
one,
this?
the situation that necessitated us
why are you explaining
will not
yourself?
be there in 2025. And Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia went on to tell us what he was going to do to make it possible.
Has the need for the e-levy changed now?
Now? No, he's saying that.
So
by
suddenly in 2025.
By 2025.
So you see the
given that where we are today, with the
giving.
economy turning this corner, with him still going on with that.
Can I ask you a question? Did Dr. Bawumia also propose?
Has he answered any of your questions?
Did Dr. Bawumia also
And you are
propose how we're going to survive between February 2024 and January 2025?
How are we going to survive?
Yes, because now we'll be enduring e-levy, betting tax, emissions tax, all of the. Did he propound a theory or an idea how we're going to survive?
We've already drawn a budget for 2024.
And in that budget, e-levy is still
policy.
a tax, is still a finance handle.
In our fiscal policy, e-levy is in there. The betting tax is in
So in November of this year.
In November,
he's not understanding your question.
In November 2023.
No,
in
2023. Please, put it in proper perspective.
He's changing my question.
Let me tell you what.
What is trying? What is telling
in
you
November
is that
2023, we took
the
fiscal policy
2025 budget to be ready in 2024.
to Parliament.
Yeah.
In that budget,
No. That's not the arrangement.
So at what time?
Next year, this year being an election year. This year being an election year, we're not going to do a budget in November. We are going to ask for the next government for the next 3 months.
But you know that there's always that transitional period. Where,
what is appropriation?
So,
and I'm telling you that
you're a member of the finance committee.
Today, the budget that we are running, had all those policies in there when it was taken to Parliament in November 2023.
Will the budget for 2025 have e-levy in it?
That's what I'm saying. That when the new government comes into government in 2025, in March or so, they will have to take their budget to Parliament.
Until that time, how do we survive?
We have a budget that we are running already today.
Which has e-levy in it.
It has e-levy in there.
And Dr. Bawumia is comfortable.
He is comfortable because it is not him who put. That he is not the guy who is exercising executive authority at this point in time.
Johnny, but you see, he says that Bawumia says you do some fiscal adjustments, and by so doing, there wouldn't be the need for e-levy. Is that not what he just said?
That's right.
Unlike John Mama,
is that not what he just said?
Went on saying that he was
Johnny, I am forwarding to you. I am forwarding to you.
Okay, so for airplay. Okay,
no, it's a letter.
Why you forward this?
There wouldn't be any.
We'll pass it. Whatever they want to do, we will pass it at the right time. They can't do anything. We are in government. If they claim it will make us unpopular, why wouldn't they stop? Okay. Well, they know this is going to transform and change the lives of Ghanaians. They know this is going to reverse the consequences of the COVID. They know this is going to put our fiscal space in the right perspective. And they are afraid that Ghanaians will continue to build their goodwill and confidence in this government. So please, we need a e-levy. And those who are saying that we should reduce it to 1% and go. Boss, if you want something to be reduced to a certain figure, you can't just make that arbitrary statement. You cannot project. We will pass it. Whatever they want to do, we will pass it at the right time. They can't do anything. We are in government. If they claim it will make us unpopular, why wouldn't they stop?
Stephen Amwa, MP for Nshai, he is a deputy minister for trade.
Johnny, let me tell you something. There's something we call collective responsibility. My late father, there's something that he always tells me. He said, when two people set a trap, one person doesn't go to check it.
Right.
When two people set a trap, one person doesn't go to check it.
Issues of trust.
Issues of trust.
Because if you tell me that the trap caught nothing.
Back and you say, oh, the
trap caught nothing.
Only the leg.
Yes.
But the animal spirited away. I won't
believe you. So we have to go there together.
All of us must go. So collective responsibility. You are a member of a team. Prior to this, you have openly in Cape Coast mocked your predecessors and asked Ghanaian, which one of us even remember the members of the NDC EMT? And then people clapped for you.
What today, economic management?
Today, we know that for the first time since 1970s, this country has officially declared sovereign default, resulting in obnoxious, calamitous DDEP. We are basically begging our creditors, either the Paris Club, the Chinese, or whoever, for them to restructure our debt, because we do not have the capacity to pay. That is the only reason why Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is running away. Look, Johnny, if you're a businessman in December 20 years, I'm wrapping up. In December 2020, right? And you needed to buy something outside to run a business. If the thing is $10,000, you needed 40,000 Ghana cedis to buy it. Today, as we speak, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, as the chairman of the EMT, of which he is still the chairman, you need 123,000 to buy the same thing. From 40,000 to 123,000.
But he's talking to the Abosokan people that things will change.
Can you imagine?
When he comes.
But you see,
believe.
No, hold on. If you recall, and I'd say this, when their first budget, if you remember, Ken Oforiate's first budget, he said, oh, you're abolishing tax rate. So the guys in Abosokan went on the street. Their council call it Momomi, with brass band.
Chimomome.
Yeah, Chimomome.
Ama Christo.
And today, the same guys in Abosokan are reeling. Look, if I tell you, Johnny, today, in order to clear an item at Ghana's port,
do you want to go there?
No, I just, or it's notorious.
You don't have to go there.
Is it notorious?
It's all over the place.
Is it notorious?
It's all over 27 taxes also, right? Don't go there.
See, no, for the record.
The first time.
Port levies, fees, and taxes. I'll read it. Import levy, import VAT, processing fee, import NHIL, import levy, 1% withholding tax on import, ECOWAS levy, network charge VAT, network charge COVID-19 health, network charge NHIL, network charge Get Fund levy, COVID-19 health recovery levy, internal revenue tax deposits, special import levy, African Union import levy, Ghana Shippers Authority SNF fee, Ghana City disinfection fee, Ministry of Trade and Industry EDF fee, Ghana Import EXIM levy, Ghana Education Trust levy, inspection fee, vehicle certification, vehicle examination. 24.
Are you not tired?
24. I decided to read it all. 24 And the man who is at the helm of affairs says that, man, mama, and you see the dishonesty in this is saying, in the year 2020,
you a lawyer sit here and refer to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia
in 2020,
at the helm of affairs?
In 2020,
you're being disingenuous.
In 2020,
we have to go.
No, 30 seconds.
Our time
In
is up.
2020,
Our time is
you
up.
know what?
We have had more than
No. In
30
2020, you know that in 2020, the MPP said they were giving us free water,
right,
free electricity.
Right.
You recall?
Right. During the COVID.
Immediately, Ghanaians gave them the mandate in 2020. You know what they did? They imposed COVID levy.
Okay.
And when Kojo Ponkrumah went into the studios of Joy FM, he told them, whilst Ghanaians were enjoying the free water, free electricity,
somebody had to pay for
who
it.
were they thinking will pay for it? This is the people who are today promising you. That is the level of lack of candor, dishonesty.
We lived
the
through
obvious lack of
challenges
integrity.
that the global
What can you
economy
talk
had
about?
not faced since the
You are
1930s.
still
You
charging us
recall how
COVID levy.
Bawumia said,
Nobody in
We
the world
lived
is
through,
charging
we
COVID
lived
levy.
through, we lived through a
You
you
period
remember Bawumia
that the
telling
global economy,
no, but you know
the global
Bawumia
economy
asked John
had
Mahama.
not had to
He asked John
contend with
Mahama,
since the
did all the
1930s.
global crisis
At that time,
bypass Ivory
global
Coast
price
to
was
come
the
to
National
Ghana?
Theatre.
At
You
the time,
remember?
At the time.
Where is
At the
your
time of
honesty?
COVID.
Your government is the only
president
government in
made
the
a
world
profound-
charging COVID levy. Nobody else is charging
The president
COVID
made a
levy.
profound statement and was quoted copiously around the world that he was going to safeguard lives. At the time, you recollect, by February 2020, people didn't even understand the virus. People didn't know how infections. In fact, some institutions had even projected that at the point by July
Our
or
first
June,
COVID cases were brought in by the president's friends.
Massa,
fact.
not even,
It's a fact.
not even. I mean, when he makes statements like
It's
that,
a fact.
don't.
I'm not. It's a fact.
Don't.
It's a fact, please.
Don't go there.
It's a fact.
So you know the source of COVID in Ghana.
It's a fact.
You know the source of
The
COVID
president
in
made
the
a
first two
declaration.
at the same time.
The president told us on the 11th of
At the same time,
March
when we were
that he had
contending,
voted
the
100,000.
whole world was contending with COVID.
For COVID. 12 March,
When-
we had first two cases when they told us that the
when
virus
whole world-
incubates for 2 weeks.
When the whole world was contending with COVID, we had other issues to contend with,
Like what?
like the financial sector cleanup, like the energy capacity.
But you are the only government in the world charging COVID levy.
The three of them.
As we speak,
The
we have
three.
a levy to pay for the financial sector.
Yes, we're
cleanup.
paying for
The
it.
three combined
these guys,
cost us
God
50
have mercy.
billion.
But we are paying
50
for it.
billion.
We are paying for
We
it.
are paying for it, but at the time, we had to quickly look for money
Fuseni,
to ensure
we-
that
we are
the
the
financial sector, the banking sector,
Fuseni.
that they had looked on to and brought to its knees.
Do you know
That's
why?
what
You know why
I've
the
mentioned it.
Fuseni, we are
Way
the
back in
only.
2015, in
Fuseni,
one of his lectures,
Johnny.
we had to come and
Johnny,
resolve
you
it
know why
because
he's struggling.
even when
You
a
know
study
why?
had been done,
You know why he's
to
struggling.
tell you that
For the first time
to tell you
since
that the
1992.
quality, the quality
first
of
time since-
assets within the sector
See.
was so bad. They looked on.
Fuseni, you are the only
They look
government in the world charging COVID fuel. Even
No.
China doesn't charge COVID. You are the only government.
America, and people died more in America, even in Ghana.
Fuseni, you are the only
people
government
died-
in the
people
world.
died-
We
people
had
died
the
in
benefit
America.
of stabilization fund.
Heritage
The money
fund.
that they were giving was the $200 million
GIIF.
from the stabilization fund. So it is not like money you took from
we have to-
anywhere.
Fuseni, your government
It
is
is
the
money.
only
It is
government.
money
And you
at the
see-
same
and
time
you
when
see-
we're
and you
dealing
see-
with
and you
COVID.
see, Johnny,
We had to
Johnny,
deal
have to
with
go.
the financial
We have
sector
to go,
cleanup,
sadly.
Johnny,
and we also
I
had to
need to- I need
deal
to
with
conclude.
capacity payments.
I need to
At the same
conclude. I
time,
need
we
to
didn't
conclude.
only have to contend with COVID.
And-
But you
and-
see, when you were enjoying the free water, you did not complain.
It is not free, please.
You are not paying for it.
paying.
But it
Where
was
is the
important.
freeness?
It's important
Don't
that
tell
we
me
did
it
that.
is
Look,
free,
look at
please.
this.
Beyond that, in Ghana,
Look,
in
if
Ghana,
you
public
respect
sector workers for
Ghanaians,
about a whole year,
would you be saying
teachers
these things
they don't
to them?
virtually go to school.
It was not free.
Oh,
please.
God
Don't
have
say
mercy.
Teachers
that.
did not go to school.
Don't when you
In
say
other
it was free.
jurisdictions,
Look, I mean,
in other
I mean, the
jurisdictions,
lack of respect for
remuneration,
Ghanaians
wages
is
were reduced.
so nauseating.
In other countries, wages were reduced, were cut. We went on to recruit more in the health sector. We went on to grant more tax breaks for the health
You
workers.
still owe people.
To ensure,
You still owe people. Those
that we
contact
fought the
tracers,
virus.
enhanced
To
contact
ensure that we
tracers,
fought the
you still owe people.
Even with all these interventions, about 1,500 people lost lives, COVID-related.
Wait,
Can you imagine if we are not even taking
I'm sorry,
taking those
we have
steps?
to go.
Johnny,
If we are not taking those steps, can you imagine what would have happened?
opportunity to wrap.
Then again,
It's only fair
when you
you
give
give
him,
I
but
give
he
you
has
first.
given you.
No, you
give
give
me
me
first.
30 seconds.
Man.
Oh no, you had more than 30
No, you
seconds.
even permit me to talk.
Come on.
The point I am making is that if you pick all these statements.
You two, why have you gone to print the thing?
The 73
It's you.
pages.
I don't even have a printed copy. Me, I don't have.
The irresistible conclusion
Every NDC member
that you
met
come
since,
to.
and it's the same format.
The
I'm
irresistible
sure
conclusion
General Asidu
you come
printed
to
it and distributed it to them.
is that
from Adabraka.
on the 7th of December, Ghanaians have the opportunity to break the stealing, to stop the looting. As we speak, the MPP constituency secretary for Sola Tuna Kaba constituency, he had written a letter to the general secretary of MPP that the World Bank project called SOCO for Oti, Upper East, Upper West, Northern and Savannah, they are sharing the money among constituency executives. And that when the Solar Tuna Kaba share of
I'll tell you what it is.
120,000 Ghana cedis came, according to the gentleman, of that 120,000, his share had been pocketed by his constituency chairman. This is revealing. This is the same thing that Felicia Tete, the MPP regional vice chairman for Northern Region, informed us that COVID funds were used and shared like granates among MPP
the Felicia Tete you mentioned.
I think
she runs one of the best getting foul joints within Tamale. She has a huge eatery, and she is in business. And because she's in business, she was entitled to get whatever breaks government.
That was not what she said.
Can you imagine?
Secondly, this Soko project you are mentioning.
She said that
COVID money
I was a parliamentary candidate.
He is a beneficiary.
I was a parliamentary candidate.
He also got the COVID money.
I can tell you,
He got the COVID money.
Was shared
so
to party.
Felix just like
you don't fear God.
Yes, she had gotten.
You don't
She
fear
had gotten,
Allah.
and I'm telling you,
She lied.
runs.
Did she lie?
She runs one of the biggest.
You don't
getting
fear
foul
Allah.
joints
You don't fear
within
Allah.
Tamale. Moving on to this
COVID
Soko
money
that
were
is
shared
mentioning.
among parliamentary candidates.
This Soko project that I've not seen the
It's
letter.
painful.
I don't know what the constituency executive is purported to be complaining, but in the Soko project, I am aware that there are people who are employed within the community.
No. This he didn't talk
there
about
are consultants who
employment.
are in there.
He said
to be managing the projects that are happening within the communities. There are people who are recruited within the community.
What bank money?
You know what a Soko is about?
Johnny,
It's
what
about
bank money?
intelligence to fight terrorism.
You know, one of the things that came to light.
I don't know what this
when
conference or
Kennedy
purported
Japan
in this
was
letter.
on the neck
But I'm
of
telling you,
Dr. Baomia, they were going at each other. Kennedy Japan's people came and said that Chairman Wuntumi had gotten some 1 million per constituency, some 20% was given to regional chairman to manage.
It is not.
It was said on tape. It's on tape.
It is not.
That Wuntumi should answer.
It is not. And I'm telling you, Kennedy Japan probably spoke.
It's not Kennedy Japan. His aides, they spoke. They held a press conference. Yes.
And I'm telling you, I was in parliament when we did all of those things. My constituency have benefited from projects.
You got 1 million per constituency?
I'm telling you that my constituency.
Did you, as MP, get 1 million per
my
constituency?
constituency has benefited from projects.
So for the 4 years that you were there, you got $4 million.
I will pinpoint. I will direct you. I will direct you if you have time. Bring cameras.
No.
I will direct you to places where me, as a member of parliament, ensure that projects were done.
My question.
No MP was giving physical money. You are not giving physical money.
So did you get projects?
The projects.
Did you get projects to the tune of $4 million?
We got projects from IPEP
to the tune of $4 million.
And significant drainage system.
For the 4 years, $4 million.
You know how much?
I am saying that within my constituency.
I've sent
within my
constituency. Kindly read it and then we can.
Within my constituency, I can pinpoint and direct you to projects that happen under IPEP.
I've sent
which are up to 4. The letter is long.
No, paragraph 6.
Okay.
Only paragraph 6. You can just read it and then.
Okay.
Johnny,
only paragraph 6.
So this is Jonathan Jibreli,
Paragraph 6.
L, Constituency Secretary Sola Tuna Kalba, and it's dated the 10th of February 2024. You say paragraph 6, right?
Yes.
The constituency chairman has also refused to give me and some constituency executives that he accused of not supporting his preferred candidate in the parliamentary primaries our share of the 10% from Soko project money of over 120,000 Ghana cedis allocated to the constituency executives.
Constituency executives.
Okay.
Johnny,
We have to go.
this is what you are doing and say you are going to do physical adjustment.
I can't even prove the authenticity of this letter. Those, my friend, are capable of doing.
Let me say that
The videos you sent.
let me say that I am still very happy that Ghana managed to pass the E-levy. It's going to be a very influential tax handle for our country.